Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. For the people that's going to watch this on the playback, you're tuned in with your host, Deshaun, a.k.a. Son of a Jones. One half of this beautiful platform, Enveonline, where we curate hip-hop. We talk a little sports, politics, current events. And we're going to get into it today. To my left.
One of your highly profiled Yankee fans, Azar Johnson.
Shout out to the Yankees, man.
Yeah,
Baseball
man.
season's in.
Yep, coming right around the corner. Facts.
That's what's up, man. Well, lately we've been doing a lot of curating of the music because I feel like that's been lost on the media side within hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys out there that's tuned in, man, if you want to hear the current events and who snitched on who, y'all could go to that other podcast. You know, the one that's in the feds right now.
Oh boy.
The one that's getting people indicted.
Boy.
So if you want to talk about hip hop and talk about some dope music like The Final Call with Ransom and Dave East, stick around. We're going to get into some music, some underground stuff. But if you with the BS and you want to know who snitched on who and this person had to check in, you can go find out other podcasts, man. So dealing with the music, I had a thought like over the last couple of weeks with the interviews I've been doing and the music I've been buying to support the artists. I'm starting to feel sorry for some of y'all artists that are actually signed to labels. I'm starting to feel sorry for some of y'all artists that are signed to label deals. Pretty much, y'all look like prisoners right now with what's going on outside with the underground of hip hop, man. Before I go in, what are your thoughts on, because I've been filling you in, telling you about some of the artists that we're supporting, the music I'm buying and stuff like that.
Correct.
So before I go too far in and give my take on underground artists, what's going on with the Renaissance versus the artists that look like they're prisoners right now, what are your thoughts?
As far as like with the music that's coming out right now, I think it's going back to what it was. Like it's the what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the pure, like the pure music of hip hop coming. Like it's creativity. It's not being told like when to come out, do this, do that, make a record like somebody else. It's now getting back to the pureness, like the foundation. When you hear a lot of the music, you can hear everything that you want to hear. You can, and then on top of that, it's the catalogs. The catalogs are getting stronger, they're getting better. It's all because now it's starting to be in our hands independently. It's kind of like what you did, and you'll talk about it later when you did the Smith and Wesson interview. When they were talking about it, they were saying like there's nothing like being independent. You're not being told when to come out. You're not being told who to stand next to.
Go on shows
where you can just be who you want to be, and then now you're seeing a betterment of music because of that.
That's a fact. Like some of these underground artists, I don't care if you haven't heard of them. Go check their catalog. Some of these cats got like 15 albums out in 3 years and quality. Not a bunch of bull. Like I'm listening to the production, I'm buying the art, I'm seeing the covers on the CD, like quality work, like 15 straight albums. One dude had like 20 something albums, quality music.
Wow.
So if I were to do a small analogy, and pardon us, our engineer is getting us together right now. So please forgive us.
It's all good.
So if I were to give a small analogy about what's going on during this underground renaissance in hip hop with these underground artists versus the artists that are signed to labels, it sort of looks like if you remember when you was a kid, right? And you ever got on punishment during a nice summer day and your mother said you grounded for 2 weeks and it's like the middle of July. And then you look outside and you see all your friends playing in the street on that nice summer day. They riding their bikes, they doing manhunt, they playing football, basketball, they doing what they want to do with nobody to tell them what to do.
Correct.
While you stuck in the house having to wait for somebody to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
So the person in the house is who?
The artist.
The artist signed to the major labels.
Yeah.
Because you can't drop when you want to drop.
Yeah.
You got to be told when you can drop. And sometimes it's like one album every 3 years. Mind you, it's going on a streaming platform, not in physical vinyls, CDs, or cassettes. So that's a whole nother thing. Then you look outside, the people that are riding their bikes, popping willies, playing manhunt. Those is all the underground artists, no matter how popular they are or not, getting busy.
Yeah.
Dropping an album every month if they want to, dropping an album every 2 months, physicals, vinyls, doing shows, popping up CDs, cassettes. And they really moving the culture right now, man.
Yeah.
So that's why I started this off by saying I actually, for the first time within hip hop as a fan, I feel bad for the artists that's actually signed to Interscope, to Atlantic, to Def Jam. Because y'all can't get busy right now, and it's a whole renaissance going on. Got anything you want to add?
No, I just think it. You know, if you think about, even when the major labels were popping, you had the independent labels, and it was kind of like better. Like it was, they just was as good. It just at some point it became nothing about. It came about nothing about other than just being majors, and that's where it became a problem.
That's a fact. And when you talk about independent labels, there's going to be somebody in the comments, wherever I put this, is going to say, well, what's the solution? What's the solution? Well, if you're on a label, see what you could do to get off of it legally without breaking your contract. But for the underground artists and even the older underground artists, there are a lot of distribution companies that are acting like record labels.
Yeah.
That are independently partnering with artists, pressing up vinyls, pressing up CDs, and doing exclusive drops. So I'm going to name a couple to pitch y'all on game. There's a company called Fat Beats, releasing a lot of exclusive music with artists. I talked to Diamond D. When I interviewed Diamond D, he said he released his Dime Piece project on Fat Beats. And so a lot of other people are releasing projects on Fat Beats. There are companies like, I'll show this, Mason Defunct. They're doing a lot of exclusive drops with underground artists. I'm just going to show the little merchandise. Exclusive drop. If I could get that in. CD, cassette tape, and a nice box. Oh, I got more. So I gave y'all Fat Beats. I gave y'all Mason Defunct. The go-to, Bars Over BS. A lot of underground hip hop is coming out from Bars Over BS. They're doing a lot of exclusive drops with all types of underground artists. So if you're looking for new artists to get into, Bars Over BS. Oh, I got more. Hold on. Let's see what's under me. I still got gifts. Another one. The Press Collective. They team up with a lot of underground artists. You see where I'm going with this? I just named 4 different small distribution companies that are acting like record labels, that are getting with independent artists and putting out physical copies of music direct to consumer. And they're paying the artist fairly. Notice I ain't say nothing about streaming.
Nope, at all.
Oh, I got one more. This was another one from the Press Collective. I know y'all know who, if I could get this in frame. I know y'all know who 38 Special is. If you in the underground hip hop, 38 Special's on Everything Moving as a prolific producer and an artist. And he's moving so well independently. So I showed y'all all that to say this. The underground artists, they moving free right now. Those are the kids outside on a nice summer day throwing the football, playing manhunt. You independent artists are on lockdown right now for 3 months or for 3 years at a time. But that gems that I gave y'all was for the consumer, the people that actually want to be involved in hip hop and know how to support the artists outside of streaming. Don't got to stream their music if you really want to be a part of the art in this revolution. Fat Beats is selling exclusive music. The Press Collective, Bars Over BS, Mason Defunct, and many others. So those are some gems I dropped for y'all so y'all can find the next exclusive artist that y'all want to listen to or be put on to some underground hip hop. Got anything you want to add?
Nah, I just I just want to say for the independent artists, just keep doing what you're doing. It's all gonna work out in the end. Because if you have any doubts and thinking like, yo, man, I should go to major, just go look at the stories. Go read the magazines and go look at the videos where the artists are talking about. I wish I never signed to a major. They all say the same thing. I wish I'd never signed. It sounds good when I got you at the table, but it's never the same. It's a,
Especially if you're an older artist,
yeah,
over 35, like the artists we were listening to back in the mixtape days,
yeah,
like the Saigons and all others. And I'll even
mm,
throw in an example of
mm,
artists that I think would thrive right now independently with one of these companies pressing up things. So when we started media back in 2010, one of the artists that I liked underground is a cat by the name of Vado from Harlem.
mm-hmm,
Dope artist. Y'all know
mm,
who Vado is if y'all listen to underground music. Dope artist from Harlem. He went through his ups and downs in the industry, signed, unsigned. I think he's with Mary J. Blige's label. I'm not too for sure if he's still independent or not.
yeah,
But last time I checked, he was kind of signed to Mary J. Blige's album.
mm,
Somebody like Vado right now will really benefit from what's going on independently with all these small distribution companies like a Fat Beats, like a Mason Defunk, like a Bars Over BS, like a Press Collective.
mm-hmm,
You remember them Slime Flu series, the mixtapes he had, like
yeah,
Slime Flu
yeah,
Volume 1, Slime Flu Volume 2, 3, and 4?
mm-hmm,
Just imagine, I don't know if he owns the masters to those, but imagine if Vado owns the masters to Slime Flu.
yeah.
You could be putting out Slime Flu vinyl right now, Vado.
True, true indeed.
I'm throwing you the alley. Yo, Vado,
mm,
if you own the masters to Slime Flu 1, 2, 3, and 4, you might want to hook up with one of these distribution companies like Fat Beats,
mm-hmm,
like the Press Collective, like Bars Over BS, like Mason Defunk, and put out an exclusive drop for the Slime Flu series. I'm just saying, I think somebody like him would benefit from what's going on.
correct.
Just curating some hip hop, talking some hip hop with y'all, man.
Mm-hmm,
So I wanted to go over an album because I feel like it's very important as a hip hop platform that we talk hip hop. Like I said in the beginning, if you want to know
mm-hmm.
who snitched on who, go find go find that other podcast, man.
Uh-huh.
So lately I've been going over albums. The last podcast I talked about this great album from Smith and Wesson, The Infinity. If you ain't got it, go pick it up over at Duck Down Records.
Mm-hmm.
But this podcast, I want to talk about two prolific artists that threw me for a loop by teaming up.
Okay.
Ransom and Dave East. As you guys know, if you're into hip hop and you're paying attention to what's going on underground, they dropped the final call, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, cuz, you need to listen to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yo, forget streaming. I had to cop that. You know, Dave East put the link out there.
Mm.
Dope art. Can't stream this, man.
Mm.
Can't stream the artwork. Can't stream that. And I'm showing the imagery for a reason. See that X symbol in there?
Yeah.
See the final core artwork on the back?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into it, man.
Yeah.
What do you think of the album?
If I had to rate it, because I always go by with the source of 5 mics and all that, I would give it like 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
how
strong.
big it is. Yeah, it's a banging album. It has that New York sound. To kind of give you.
Ransom gonna say he from Brooklyn, by the way of Jersey.
Yeah,
But it's still tri-state, baby.
It's got that New York sound, and if you listen to it, it's. I mean, some of the beats to kind of give you an idea. If you ever listen to the Heatmakers and their production, it's kind of something to the effect of that. But I mean, the jewels that Ransom's dropping, Davies is dropping jewels too. But the way Ransom is like on that album, and him and Davies, they're dropping many gems and jewels, and it's the only thing about being independent. It's not highly being pushed and promoted. But
Yeah,
that
what they
album,
talking about on there?
yeah, that album,
I got my
is
masters,
tough.
no more slavery.
Yeah,
It's a bar from Dave East on
yeah,
there.
yeah. Ransom dropped so many gems on there. I can't even keep track. I had to write some of the stuff down, and I was like going back and forth and like rewinding and everything. Like it was that Illmatic when Ransom was dropping. And it kind of goes back for people that don't. You talk about Dave East and them, like for Ransom, like he was kind of coming. He was always popping because he's on those come up DVDs. And I remember
Shout out to the DVD era.
he was always showcasing his talents, and I always thought he was an ill artist. But then things happened, however things happened, and he talks about some of what was going on in life. So you need to definitely go get this album. I don't know. You said they do have it. You can stream it or load it, download it.
Yeah, but hey,
Or
no streams amongst us shall prosper over here. Yo, on Enveonline, we are encouraging y'all to support the artist. So Dave East dropped the link. Right. Go to that link that Dave East dropped because no streams amongst us shall prosper. But go ahead, man.
It's worth. It's your money's worth in this economy. You definitely need an album that's your money's worth. That album alone is worth your money, from front to end.
So I want to dig into it, and I thought that this is a good time to talk about this because they're both independent artists. So outside of the obvious art, the imagery, like I said with the Final Call, if you don't know, look it up. But one thing that stuck out to me right away was the message. So you know better than me because you're a few years older than me of how important the late 80s or early 90s, the golden era of hip-hop was.
Yeah.
And one thing that was big within our culture was knowledge of self, not just in the content of music, but even outside. Like we were rocking HBCU hoodies.
Yeah.
We were rocking college hoodies. We were talking about empowerment amongst ourselves and our communities, our business. Was rocking them African medallions.
Yeah.
And we obviously had the cats that spit knowledge, the Big Daddy Kings, the Rakims, the Poor and Righteous Teachers. All those cats that were elevating their music, the content in their music by making sure they had a conscious gem in there. Yeah. So off that's the feel that I got from this Final Call album with Dave East and Ransom, is that it wasn't about talking about money and street life. It was, we're going to put a very artistic message. We're going to make imagery and we're going to do it with our witty bars.
Right.
So I was like, this is another album because I talked about this with a few other albums. I felt Smith & Wesson did this with Infinity.
Correct.
I felt Aguilar the Dawn did it with Black Richport, where he was dropping knowledge in Black Richport. There was another one that I'm slipping right now. Oh, Common and Pete Rock, The Auditorium. Common was dropping gems in that. Leaving you jewels, leaving you audio jewels. A lot of audio jewels in this. A lot of personification in this. So I said there's a renaissance going on with bringing the knowledge back into music.
Right.
We don't want to hear about your $100,000 car. In this economy, where we're all going broke, where people are getting laid off,
facts,
where the economy is unstable and people are losing their jobs, we don't care about your $200,000 car no more within hip hop.
Right.
Can you give me some audio gems that's gonna make me think?
Correct.
That's gonna say, yo, this is dope. Got anything you want to add before I get into some more?
It is just the production. Because I know you always blow that up.
Production was key. There's a name that's ringing bells underground. I'm gonna shout them out now. They use quite a few producers, like a cat named Bernard. Let me read off some production credits.
Bernard Woodside
was on here. Flashy Sunrise, Second Self, Prophecy, ACSVG, David Strauss, and the guy that's ringing bells because he's doing a lot of work is V-Don. If you into underground hip hop, V-Don is moving right now. And he got busy, and the way they slid all over Mecca, man. But what you wanted to say about the production?
It's like for the flow. It's for a lyricist, for a rapper. Like I would love to hear, like certain people, like you, when you hear Toomp beat, you love it. Like any rhymer, if you can spit, you can be on that beat. To just give the credit to production, especially for Prophecy, because he did like 2 of the tracks on this album. And ACSVG and all them. There wasn't one song on this album where the beat was horrible. The beats were all 10s. That's what I can say. The only thing that's why I gave it 4.5. It's not gonna make it. It's not gonna make it to radio. It's not something I don't
They
think
got one, and we're
that
gonna
way.
talk about
Yeah,
it.
it's
There's
a,
one in
they be
there that
shaking
I
the
hear
club,
it.
but it's this album is tough. It's 4.5. That's the beats are 10. All the beats are 10. Nothing like I don't know how Dave East and Ransom picked it out, but their beat selection was tough. I commend them on that. Their lyrics were tough. You could kind of tell they treated this project. I know you. It's funny you say they treat this project like an album, but they treated it like it's like I can't explain it. Like it's like they like yo, we gonna give our best on this. Like
Iron sharpens
you're gonna
iron.
you're gonna know why we're respected. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Why who we are. So when you hear all the lyrics and everything that they're coming with, the topics they're discussing, a lot of the gems that they're dropping, and even personal issues that they were going through that they were sharing on there is crazy.
Can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of gems in there, but both of them, I forget which track it is,
Mm-hmm.
but both of them were sharing their personal stories of growing up and dealing with. Ransom talked about on one track dealing with his mother having Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And how can I raise you longer than you raising me? And how he
Facts.
grew up in a group home, and no wonder why I'm having screws loose, like the way he was flipping the bars and telling the story.
Yeah.
And then Dave East talked about his auntie and his parents having diabetes. And I'm like, this is what we need in hip hop.
Yeah.
This is a message. This is a story. This is something that the average person who's within hip hop can deal with, because we got family members that deal with stuff with health issues. And I got family members, I'm not going to put the names out there, that grew up in group homes, that was placed up for adoption. My mother was placed up for adoption, dealing with that growing up, and so forth and so forth. So when I could hear an artist be vulnerable in the same way Meek Mills was vulnerable, he's getting a lot of praise right now. Not the segue or sidebar, but Meek Mills has a verse on Friday album, and everybody's going crazy over it because we thought Meek Mills was kind of dead in the water until he spit this verse talking about his father, bleeding his soul out about growing up without his father. And it went crazy on the internet. But jumping back to this album with Dave East and Ransom, the vulnerability that they put on certain tracks, yeah, man. Art, pure art, man. What? I'll let you go.
No, I think that's dope. The farewells, the last track on the album, they were talking about, how they were leaving everything behind, like the hanging out in the project hallways, the sitting in the 6x9 cell,
Growing up.
yeah, like they were leaving all that back behind on the farewell. That was one of my favorite tracks. Blood and Water.
That's my joint right
When he was
there.
talking about being independent. One of my favorite lines by Dave East. He said, every chance, this is another track though. He said, every chance I get, it's like New Edition. I'm feel like Michael Bivins. I'm saying, like, just witty stuff like that.
And that
I mean,
was-
they're killing it. So they took a lot of their personal issues or a lot of personal stuff in their personal life, put it and poured it out into these tracks, and then they mixed it with their lyrical combated skills, which is always a recipe for success. You know what I'm saying? It's always a recipe for success, definitely.
Yeah, that's the joint that I like, where he was like, Hollywood, nah, my wife is darker than Marcus Garvey.
Facts.
Like, Ransom was just that small bar of him saying, Hollywood, nah, my wife is darker than Marcus Garvey, acknowledging the role that Hollywood plays with us.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't worried about that. You see what my wife is? I got a bad dark skin joint right here.
Right. Facts.
My favorite joint on that, I had a couple of them. So I'm going to go with the track. I love Blood and Water. I'm going to go with the track Mecca.
Okay.
The track Mecca, produced by V-Don. And the reason why I like that is because all three of them, there's an artist on there by the name of 22 G's. They was all sliding, man. They was all getting surgical. They was getting surgical.
Yeah.
And then at the end, Dave East like flipped their names in a bar, and I was like, ooh. So Ransom name and 22 G's name. So he ends it off with hold your man for ransom with a 22 Bentley Coupe Royal Blue, the same color as Penny shoes. Hold your man for ransom with the 22.
Right.
Ransom, 22 G's.
Yeah.
Hold your man ransom with a 22 Bentley Coupe Royal Blue, same color as Penny shoes. I had to go look up Penny shoes for that. Then I had to go look up 22 G's because I wasn't familiar with them.
Right.
It made me go research artists, man. So that was a dope one. I love Soul Food and Mecca, produced by Bernard Woodside. I stopped raising my gun when I started raising my queen, meaning his daughter, meaning I started growing up being a father.
Yeah.
Again, grown man bars.
Facts.
Here's the one that's underrated. Al Kabir Beach. Al Kabir Beach. Y'all doing sophisticated rap?
Yeah.
They doing upper echelon rap, eh?
Killing it.
I was like, yo, I got to save my money up. I looked up the beach. I was like, oh, I can't afford that yet. Yeah, I got upper echelon rap. And then the way it sounded, I was like, oh, that, you know, obviously they're not gunning for radio play, but if that was a single, that sounds like something that can be played in the summertime on the radio. Now, the last thing before we move on, I want to commend them for was shooting the videos to bring the stories to life.
Okay.
The imagery from the videos, like I showed y'all the artwork, with them embodying the sound and the message of the nation with the final call, the Autobahn, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 was with Ransom, and part 2 was with Dave East. If you look at part 2, the video for part 2, the imagery of him embodying Malcolm X, he literally was spitting through the lens of Malcolm X growing up, telling the story of his mother and his father, and growing up going through jail and coming through the Nation of Islam.
Right.
And leading all the way up to the end of the Autobahn ballroom.
Right.
If you look at the video, I never saw nothing like that. Shout out to whoever directed the Autobahn part 1 and part 2, because that visual alone brought this album to life.
Right.
Along with I think the same director did the Mosque as well.
Okay.
Like,
crazy,
man. So while we're curating hip hop again, go buy this album and go look at the videos. Underground artists like Ransom and Dave East are leading this revolution. Like he said in there, man, got my masters, ain't no more slavery.
Right.
Dave East is flourishing because when he was on the label, he was kind of getting the feeling like certain things weren't working out.
Yeah.
Now he's independent. He did an album with A-Rap Beats not so long ago. Then he drops this. Like Dave East is flourishing independent.
Who was he signed to again?
I think at one point he signed a Mass Appeal at first with Nas.
Yeah.
And something didn't go right with that. And I don't know what other labels, but he's moving independent now and it's paying off, man.
Right. No, definitely.
Let me say this too. There's a lot of internet talk about Dave East as a rapper. And I know he's grown and he could say he doesn't care, but it was a couple bars on here that let me know he was hearing the internet talk. Like people were saying he ain't like that. He ain't a bartician.
Right.
Boy, he proved it wrong with this one. And everybody's entitled to their opinion. You ain't gotta like every album.
Right.
But I'm gonna use this analogy. For a while for Dave East, he was starting to get the same criticism as a Jason Tatum. If you're into NBA media, nothing Jason Tatum can do is right to the fans. He ain't like Anthony Edwards. He ain't got swag like Ja Morant.
Right.
But when he gets on the court, he gets busy and wins.
Right.
You don't hear about Jason Tatum's personal life. He keeps that private. He don't get in trouble off the court. He ain't sleeping with porn stars. He ain't got 3 baby mama drama. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
He gets on the court and gets busy and wins. I'm not comparing the two because they light skin. I'm going somewhere with this. Dave East, do you hear about his personal life?
Nope.
No. Do you hear about any baby mama drama? No. Is he getting in trouble? No. Don't hear about none of him getting in trouble. What he does, he gets in the booth and raps.
Right.
The same. That's why I compared Jason Tatum and Dave East, not because they're light skinned, but the unnecessary hate they were getting for their respective crafts.
Yeah,
I don't care about the personal life. You staying out of trouble. You being a positive role model, and you're doing what you came to do. Jason Tatum gets on that court. He gets busy. You put Dave East in a room with the Ransom. Iron sharpens iron. So big salute to Dave East. Big salute to Ransom. Hell of a job on this album. Got anything else you want to add?
No, I think you said it all. You know what I mean?
Final call out now. Hope y'all enjoyed that little album review. So in the same vein of curating hip hop, man, I had a chance to do a dope interview with legendary artist Diamond D. So I just want to give a few bullet points because I know that's really from your era, man. And he dropped some gems on me. I'm gonna release that interview next week. He's an independent right now, and he's running around right now like he ain't got no record deal. He's out working the competition.
Right.
Within the last 2 years alone, he's dropped multiple independent projects, and they all sound amazing. So for the people who don't know who the legendary Diamond D is from Digging in the Crates, can you drop a few bullet points?
Yeah, Diamond D, you know, an artist from the Bronx, producer too. He's most notably known for his classic. It's like a classic album in hip hop. It's called Stunt Blunts and Hip Hop. You know, Sally Got a One Track Mind. Diamond D. I touched him. I forgot the name of that, but he has a lot of gems on that album. And because of that era where hip hop was, and it wasn't about album sales, like hip hop wasn't what it was now. So that album, even though as great as it was, album sales wise, it wasn't. It was on an independent, small time label, but it's all through hip hop. It's known as a classic. That's not to also mention he's part of the legendary group DITC, and for people that don't know, that's Digging in the Crates crew. Consists of Showbiz AG, Fat Joe,
Lord
Finesse, and Big L. So he's part of that legendary group. And then also his production credits, I can't even go through that list. I know for one that he does not get credit for, and I don't know if he wants to ever talk about this. I know he had some production credit towards the score with the Fugees that I don't think a lot of people realize and understand his contribution to it. That's another story for another day, but I'm just telling you that's what we know him for, you know?
Yeah, so when I did the interview, he really wanted to focus on what he's doing today because he felt like he's putting in just as much work today as a producer and as an MC than what he did back then. Like, you know, he's featured on Busta Rhymes' latest project.
No, I didn't.
He did a banging production for a track on there that just dropped in January. Then he just released the Dame Piece 3, the duo, which came out. Let me read some of the tracks on here. He got Be Real and Everlast. He got a song called TSNY with Nims, Prayer, Saigon, and Tons. He got a song on there called My DJ Spits Better Than Yours. With Kid Capri. With DJ Doo-Wop. Who y'all need to stop leaving off that DJ list when y'all talk about top DJs.
Facts.
Salute the DJ Doo-Wop.
He's always on our Envy's top list. I know that.
He got his man from day one, Sadat X, because he was rhyming with Sadat X even on Blunts and Hip Hop.
Right.
He got Camp Low on there. Even on the Initium, which was the series before that, he got a track with KRS-One called Kings. And then even before that, he dropped the album called Farewell, where he said he was leaving that stuff in behind.
Right.
Leaving his old lifestyle behind from what he did in the past. And boy, what I'm telling you, as an elder within hip hop who has 30-something years, I can appreciate somebody who's working that hard, who says, well, my name is already cemented. Because sometimes, you know, people will get lazy. Yo, I already did enough in hip hop, man. What am I dropping albums for?
Right.
He said he still got a competitive spirit in him at his age.
Wow. Yeah, that's dope. Like, that's super dope.
Can't do nothing but respect that. So I definitely wanted to shout out Diamond D, because he even talked about independence in that. I asked him, I said, yo, Diamond D, the record labels, I feel, lied to us. They was telling us streaming. And now we're seeing what independent sells. What are your thoughts? Do you think the record labels were in cahoots with the technology, with the streaming companies. And he let it be known. He said, I'm going to overlay the clip, but he said, yeah, they had to. It was their vested interest to tell the artists about streaming.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good gem that he dropped because now he's independent. Has his record label called Diamond Minds Records, and that's where he's putting out all this work, man. So if you really into hip hop and you our age, you over 35, go support Diamond D and what he's doing. He got a dope album, The Dime Piece, 3, The Duo. That's on Fat Beats. Remember what I told you about Fat Beats?
Yeah.
Yeah, go to Fat Beats and support Diamond D and grab that Duo album. Just released. I think you can pre-order it and it's dropping tomorrow.
Okay.
So salute to Diamond D, man.
Respect.
I want to quickly touch on one last hip hop topic.
Okay.
Which was because we talked about evoking emotion and being vulnerable, which I kind of already talked about, which is Meek Mills. Salute to Meek Mills because I've been critical of him in the past because I kind of felt like he wasn't growing up with his rhymes. We're around the same age. Where I'm in my late 30s, he's in his late 30s. Every once in a while, you get tired of rolling on my wrist and I'm going to swerve out the light and X, Y, and Z. So I don't think you heard the record, but y'all out there, it's already going crazy, the song that he was spitting with Friday. So I just got to salute him. When I'm critical out loud, I feel like I got to salute you out loud. So big salute to Dave East, man. Big salute to him. You got anything about hip hop you want to talk about?
Nah. You know we gonna talk about that later.
Okay.
Or whenever you was ready to talk about it, because you put me onto that.
So I see where you going with this. So we spend the first hour curating a lot of the music and underground versus labels. But y'all know what's going on in these YouTube streets and these internet streets. That's why I said if y'all want that messy stuff, go to that podcast. Who's in the federal indictment? Yeah. They got a hip hop Rico going on right now with people like Big U. I guess an artist. I don't know his music, but a person that keeps appearing on No Jumper podcast, Brick Baby, and the guy Loose Cannon.
Yeah.
What is he an artist?
I don't know. I haven't heard no music from him.
Yeah, so God bless. I don't think we have to rehash what's going on. You guys out there that's gonna watch this, you already know. They brought all 3 of them in there allegedly with the Rolling 60s, a Crip set, and there's a whole Rico case, and the community activist Big U is being tied from them for extortion, some gang activity, a body from 2021 and so forth. So for all that's happening with this hip hop Rico surrounding Big U, surrounding podcasts like No Jumper 22, not from our culture, but whatever. What are your thoughts?
I just think that, once again, it's sad. But I think me and you had kind of alluded to this before. Like, at the end of the day, it just becomes a situation where I think it was the whole check-in thing. So I think that plays a part in it as far as with the extortion part. But I think at some point we got to start looking at this. Y'all know better. And somehow y'all get caught up in the situation. And let me tell you what's really behind this. And as I thought about it, because after you schooled me on this yesterday. So the Olympics are coming, right? You know they're coming, right?
2028.
I think so, yeah.
And what did they have to do in Atlanta, eh?
They flooded or they cleaned all that mess out of there. So you will not be gangbanging and nobody will be in the wrong set. They don't care about any of that. They want all of that out of there. So trust me, there is more coming. They don't care about what set you are. They don't care about whether you're in the wrong area. These are people that don't look like us. These are corporations,
billions of
companies, and they are not playing games, and they will get your behind up out of there. So if you want to zoo-woo, boo-boo, whatever you want to do, trust me, ain't nobody going to care. You will be locked up, and you will be gone. Like you said, go look at BMF's last season when they ran up in the projects. It wasn't playing, and they had full pass to do anything they wanted. Bottom line. So that's what you're looking at. So the thing is with Big U, and innocent till proven guilty as far as in my eyes. But let's be honest, like you've said this too, where there's smoke, there's fire. That Nipsey Hussle thing, there was a lot of smoke around you. So I don't know if there's any validity to that. But every time your name around and this whole thing, you got to check in. Because I heard Deb Anthony said that. She's like, I always check in wherever I go. I don't understand. They don't own that. You don't own that.
What blocks do Rolling 60s on?
What
blocks do the 40s on?
Let me tell you what's going to happen. You know how they're going to get a reality check? Because the Olympics are coming. They're going to roll your asses right up out of there. And tell you it's going to get a real reality check of what you own. You ain't going to own nothing. So you're going to get a real reality check. Just give it time. Because they ain't it. They ain't done yet.
Oh, no.
There's a few more people. So whatever you think you're going to do and go rob and go do whatever, I knew something was up when the whole gentrified thing was starting to go and it was starting to get too expensive to stay in LA. They're trying to run everybody out of there. You can come back
to South LA.
Yeah. You can come back after Olympics. But for right now, we're going to run this show. And trust me when I tell you, there's more coming. That's an
interesting point because I forgot. We talked about that before with the BMF series.
We did, sir.
It's 2025. You guys got less than 3 years, really 2 years. Because in order for them to have the Olympics in LA, a lot of things have to happen.
Yep.
You think they're going to risk nationally people coming from all ends of the earth to LA and they have to worry about y'all talking about, oh, you need to check into this hotel or you getting robbed for your watch. Or worse, killed in broad daylight like PNB Rock.
Ridiculous.
Because you went to the wrong Roscoe's. And all that other goofy shit. And again, I'm not getting into LA politics.
Right.
But this is what we see on our side.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one important thing. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
The second thing I want to touch on is a point that you said. You should know better. Talking about Big U at that age. Because somebody thought he was in his 40s. Big U is 58 years old. For context, I'm in my 30s. My dad is that age. He's my father's age. You should know better, especially because you have priors and you already been through the system. So right before he turns himself in, he starts saying, oh, when a black man is trying to help out the community, man, nobody want to hear that, dog.
Yeah.
They'll start talking about the black man and activism and helping out the community because from the stuff we heard allegedly, they talking about ball players being extorted in the NBA. They're talking about dice games. They're talking about rappers and actors and a whole bunch of people having to check in and give your nonprofit organizations money under the guise of protection. That's what they're saying allegedly.
Yeah.
There's too much smoke around your name. Let me say this. People can make up lies. People can make up fake profiles.
Yeah.
But when somebody speaks of my name, Deshaun Jones, you know why there's never no smut attached to my name? Because I police myself.
Right.
Now, somebody can lie. Yeah, somebody can make up a fake profile and lie. Somebody tried it 2 years ago. You know why I didn't hold no weight? Because people who know me could say, he's about business. Even with my personal life.
Yeah.
My wife don't have to worry about nothing because I'm always at home, raising my children, being faithful to her. Right. So there's never no goofy shit with somebody saying, oh, I saw Deshaun out at the strip club trying to holler at girls. Nobody could say nothing about my business acumen.
Right.
When we came in this game, what is one thing I said I want about our name?
Yeah.
I wanted our name to stay clear.
Yeah.
I don't fraternize with people we network with. I don't try to holler at models when we out at fashion events. Because I never want nobody to come back 10 years from now saying, yo, you remember when Deshaun was doing such and such 10 years ago?
Facts.
So hear what I'm saying. I'm only in my 30s and I police myself like that because my name is my name.
Yeah.
That celebrity shit don't mean nothing when you dead and gone. When somebody looks up your name, they're going to see what type of person you are.
Yeah.
I want my name clear. Nobody can say nothing outside of a fake profile. With Big U, you are 58 years old. You already been through this system. You already did dozens of years. You should know better. We're in the internet. We've been in the internet age for 20 years. You can't do nothing in the dark.
Yeah.
Even if it's 10 years ago, somebody's going to talk about it because your affiliates are jumping on podcasts. A whole bunch of grown people who, let me say this. The internet is for everybody, but it ain't for everybody.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Correct.
If you are not promoting a business, if you are not an actor, a celebrity, an actor, if you are really in the streets like you say you are, to those people in the rolling 60s on that podcast, you have no business on the internet.
Yeah.
Because I think one dude, the Brick Baby, was like, "Oh, he ain't got more bodies than me." Why would you say that on the podcast?
What are you doing?
Why would you say that on the podcast?
Even that cast, see, now you know what the difference is? I'm going to let you lead this. But if it's a hip hop, if that's Doggy Diamonds, he's not putting that out. He would have took that right off. He would have clipped it. He would have took the clip, or he would have had it recorded, but he would have took that clip right out.
He already said
we ain't
that.
Doing that. Yeah.
He said, "You see why I never ask people about their war stories on my show?
Yeah,
because I don't want to be a co-defendant in nobody's bullshit."
Nope.
He said he will scrap the whole interview. So here's where I'm gonna go with this, talking about the media, like No Jumper and others, because he ain't the only one that don't come from our culture but's benefiting from our culture. To you artists that keep going on these platforms where they're asking you incriminating questions about what you did 10 years ago when you was in the street before you got signed, understand they don't have your best interest at heart.
They do not.
Because when they released the paperwork to this federal indictment, they named No Jumper in it. They said they got multiple clips from it. So they got somebody dedicated to pulling those clips off of YouTube.
Right.
So now what are you going to do? And they're not the only one. Let me say this. I think you messing with the volume.
My bad.
Thank you.
Bad. Go ahead.
Let me say this. Shout out to my partner. He's over here messing with stuff.
No, my bad, man. Go ahead.
For the artists out there that's acting like they don't know no better, there's a few media platforms that are really about hip hop that don't get enough credibility. That when I look up their names and their platforms, I never see their name in no type of jail paperwork because they're incriminating artists in their interview. I never see Doggy Diamond's name in any of this BS with any artist that ever got arrested.
Nope.
I never see MREC from MREC TV in any of this nonsense.
Nope.
I never see Chuck Creemore from All Hip Hop name mentioned in any type of police investigation. People don't like him, but I never see Gully TV's name mentioned in any police paperwork when these artists get arrested. Same thing with us over here at Enveonline. When we interview people, we don't ask them about that. So to the publicists and management teams out there, when you send your artists on a press run to talk to press, maybe you should think about that.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah.
But maybe you should really think about that. I'll say it again. I never see Doggy Diamond's name mentioned in any police paperwork with artists.
Nope.
I never see MREC TV. I never see Chuck Creemore from All Hip Hop. I never see a Gully TV or a few other of us in underground media. So maybe some of you publicists and managers, when you send your artists out there on a press run, you might want to think about that before you go chase that platform because they got big numbers. That DJ such and such got big numbers, but he's sitting up there asking your artist about his street life for the first 40 minutes of the interview. Yeah, what was you doing before you got signed and all that goofy shit.
Right.
And now your artist got a charge because he's sitting up here not media trained talking about stuff he did before he got signed.
Oh boy.
You got anything else you want to add?
I just think that, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to like start to realize and understand that this isn't a game, and y'all can't be falling for the okie doke. I mean, it's kind of what you were saying. To allude to what you're saying, like Adam 22, like why you going on there and doing that? Why you going on there and doing that?
And he got up there, this ain't, I employ people. Yeah, but we all watch your interviews, dude. If you're in hip hop at one point, you watch the No Jumper podcast and watch the interview. And we see the line of questioning.
Yeah. Like, why would you ask them on camera? Why would you ask them? Or even if you let them flow on it, once you see something that's crazy, you clip it off. See, that's where responsible journalism comes from. You clip it off. That's why I feel the way, and I'm not going to sidetrack, but I will say is, that's why I feel the way when they give it to them.
That's the point I was going with.
What you need to understand is you need to, for artists, and this is
and
to all y'all.
No.
This is where I'm going with it. To all y'all artists, your publicist is playing you because they're getting checks from those companies and those clowns to sit up there and do interviews with you. So that's why, like, we can't get the interviews because we're not willing to cut a check to this publicist, and he's got you up there looking crazy. Now I can tell you right now, Brick Baby, all them, no, whoever's behind them, if the bang the back told them to go up there, I can tell you they ain't gonna go down with them.
Oh no,
They ain't got nothing to do with it. Adam 22 is gonna keep continuing to make money, doing what he's doing, and I'm not attacking his character. He's always acknowledged he's a normal guy that does what he does and
from New
moves into
Hampshire,
it. Right? But
he's a normal guy from New Hampshire.
Understand
not
what
Cali.
I'm saying to you? I'm pretty sure he didn't have to check in. I'm pretty sure that he doesn't get extorted. I'm pretty sure. But people that look like us, or when we go into our neighborhoods, the people that look like us, we got to check in. Who is you to? I got to check into what? I'll go where I please, whatever. And to be honest with you, it's just like they call Charleston like it's not being a snitch. It's about you trying to play me because you don't want me walking in here because you want to prove a point. What point is that? What point is that? Did we not learn anything from the whole? I'm not trying to sound all old and everything, but with Biggie and Pac and all that mess, did you see Jimmy Iovine get in trouble?
Nope.
Did you see Clive Days get in trouble?
Nope.
Their kids and their families are all okay, and they all get money, and they all go to school, and they all live happy, wealthy lives. So what I'm telling you is that when you see people like that on a certain platform doing what they're doing, Adam 22's daughter is not going to be affected by this. Adam 22's wife is not going to be affected by this. So at the end of the day, it's funny though, when we're on those platforms, everybody else's family and people are affected by this. They're all affected by this, but we're not. They're not going to be. Jimmy Iovine's still running around. He was in the middle of that. They even said one time, not to sidetrack, Game and 50 had an issue. And Yayo speaked about this in one of those interviews he's talking about. He said, I didn't understand how Interscope was backing that. Because we, you kind of have in-house issues, and you over here promoting the GU not. Like, what, did you not forget what we was doing it?
That 50 was writing those records for the first album.
So how dare you? So the point I'm making is you see who and what they are. And this is another thing. 50 said something one time, and I caught my ear. He said, Jimmy Iovine said, you can't do anything around me because I would tell if he was ever get caught. Why would you? You know what's funny though? But if it's somebody that looks like us and somebody said that to him, he wouldn't want to do any business with him. But somebody that don't look like you, that's who you want to do business with. Really? Really?
Yep.
And you see what happened, right? So when Game played, you see he showed who he was, right? So it's the same thing. That's why like the independents, stay away from him, man. I know when, and I'm just speaking from a fan perspective. And Smith & Wesson talked about it in that interview. When you're younger, you don't see it. But because he said even the older heads, like when they was coming up, they didn't know either. Like hip hop was their business thing. But now that you know, stay away from them. We're gonna always talk about in that podcast. Stay away from them. We all see what's going on with Puff. I guarantee Clive Davis ain't nowhere to be seen.
And can I give an exclusive?
Go ahead. Yeah.
We got to add on to the hip hop Rico. This just sent today. Texas artist Yellow. What's his name? Yellow Baby.
I don't know his name.
Yellow Breezy. Let me get the name right because they'll kill me. Please forgive me, but exclusive. Dallas rapper Yellow Breezy charged with hiring a hitman that killed Mo 3 today.
That's
so
crazy.
You remember when Mo 3 was killed on the highway? So they finally got Yellow Breezy from Dallas in connection to hiring the hitman that did that. Rest in peace to Mo 3. But another promising artist from Houston, Texas is now going to be federally indicted on capital murder charges.
Yo, man. These young brothers.
What is the end goal? This is why I like what you said. They should know better. These ain't no 20-year-olds. Everybody that we named is over the age of 30.
Where's the fathers at? I just want to know that. There's no way I could be sitting in the room with my son and he's playing certain music and I'm looking at it. I'm like, the label backed you on this? They backing you on talking to them? Maybe you should like go talk to their daughter like that and see how they feel. You sure about that?
I'm glad you said it. You know, somebody else said that, and I think the rapper Saigon said something to the effect of all these drill rappers, where are their fathers at? Because if you're a proper father, like me and you are, we got sons.
Yeah.
My kid can't come in the house. He's 9, but when he's 20, he can't come in the house at 1 a.m. with blood on his shoes. Because the first thing I'm going to do is say, what happened?
Yeah.
And then if he don't tell me what I want to hear, I'm gonna go upside his head as a father.
Yep.
You just threw your life away, or you just did something you ain't had no business doing.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. Where are the fathers? Even for these grown. Let me tell y'all something. I'm in my 30s. My father still mentors me. If I'm doing something out of line, my father will call me on it.
Yep.
Or when I need advice, I can call him to get advice, even in my 30s, because I had a father that raised me during the 80s and 90s, all the way up until adulthood. So where are the fathers at to even some of these grown people in the industry? They trying to be y'all friends? They trying to get a check with y'all and be y'all buddies, because they should be telling y'all moving wrong. You out here in the streets committing crimes, getting on a podcast. But that's where we're at with the hip hop Rico, man.
I'm not gonna say the crew, because there was so many of them coming out of New York. There was a crew I knew that I knew for, I don't want to say gang, but there was a crew. I knew how they moved, but you never knew about it. You thought that was a rap crew. That wasn't a rap crew. That was a crew, and it was what it was. To give a point, you ever see with Nori, like Gully TV? Shouts out to Gully TV, because he was the first one that blew this up and did an interview with him. The Murder Unit.
MU.
50 talked about that. He said, yo, I knew who they was. He said they was running around with Nori, running the streets, doing what they was doing. Jim Jones and them talked about it. They was running. They knew who they was, but I thought they was a rap crew. They wasn't out there promoting that. We knew who they were because of the Hot 97s, and even back then, they just thought it was Nori's entourage. They didn't even know who they was like that. So the point I'm making is that at the end of the day, why are you going on these podcasts and doing that? You know why? Because people that don't look like us that own it and say, yeah, just keep talking. I don't care who Adam 22 employed. He knew better. The minute that kid said that, I would have took that off the clip. Like, yo, we ain't putting that out.
No, because
it's
you're
gonna see him talking. You're gonna see him talking, and then you're gonna see it like skip.
Yeah.
Because I'm not letting that out. I'm not letting that come out.
But it's about views for them, not for us. We've been interviewing cats since 2010. Have we ever asked the artists about any street activity in 15 years? No.
Nope.
Same thing with Doggy Diamond. Same thing with all hip hop and others. But to them, it's content because it don't affect. I love the point you made when you said his daughter's not going to be affected. She's going to grow up nice and get the money from that and go off to college.
Yep.
Because for them, it's about the views. Go ahead.
So no, I agree with you 1000%. And I think that at the end of the day, like you just know, you don't put that out there, man. You know better than that. And the only way you do it is unless you do like what Feds and Don Diva and them did, like after the fact that they done, did their time, came home. Yes, you tell that story, but you don't go in there telling stories that you shouldn't be telling. You know better than that, man. You got these kids out here and they catching charges. I guarantee Adam 22 won't be nowhere. I guarantee you're gonna show a day up in court for them. All them cats that was on there. What I agree with you with Big U, like you. There's gonna be a lot of things because this is just the beginning.
This is the beginning.
There's something else that's gonna come out, and I got a feeling, and I'm telling you, my gut is telling me it's gonna be something with Nipsey. It's gonna be some other stuff he did that he knew he shouldn't have been doing, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and that's the end. It's like you said, you almost like right around the corner from 60. Really, really. The feds didn't come. Let me say this, and I want to sound like this because it sounds like we're haters. The feds didn't come because you were making a movement like X and King.
Yeah.
The feds came because they knew you were up doing something up to no good, and they been knew. They just sit there and wait. It's like what they did with Smurder and them. Remember? They did that body dropped, and they just kind of kept letting things go. We're going to let you get real comfortable. They knew about the guns. They knew about everything. It's all in that report. They was just sitting back waiting. So if you're minding your business, doing what you're supposed to be doing, you see the feds don't come to Dame's house. Feds don't come.
This is the point I made about keeping your name clean.
Yeah, the feds don't bother
that
Nori.
dumb. Oh, I ain't do nothing. Again, we at Enveonline are not convicting nobody. We don't have any information. We're not feds. But like we said, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a lot of smoke around that name. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Gully TV talked about it on his one of his I want to say one of his vlogs, because he does like a lot of vlogs and his clips, and he was saying that he was told to stay away from Big U. Like he'll act like he's down with you, and then next minute you know he's trying to extort you. That's been known. Now you know, and whether it's true or not, I mean, we've all heard about it.
Yeah.
So, and you openly acknowledged it on Vlad TV, like, yeah, you need to check in.
Can I say one more thing before we leave off?
Yeah.
Somebody get Kanye some help, because enough's enough.
Why would he do?
You didn't see the epic rant he went on?
No, I lost track.
Yeah, I know you know,
Yeah.
but getting him some help is not even a word, because now you got a person with money, the type of money he has, where he's like, what, a billionaire or just under a billionaire?
Yeah.
So nobody can tell him nothing, and they're trying to silence me. Like when he was trying to sell an iced out swastika, I knew we lost a plot, because you playing in our face. Then on his website, he's selling black KKK hoodies, but it's in black, so I guess that makes it better. But the rant he went on was so crazy. He called Jay-Z and Beyonce kids the R word.
Really?
The R word. Yeah, you know, I can't say because then that's he got on Twitter and talked about Jay-Z and Beyonce kids. And then talking about, I deleted it because maybe that was too far and da 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 da. And now I think they're talking about taking legal action. I hope they do, and I hope they sue Kanye for that. You can say whatever you want to say, but you out there talking about people, kids on the internet.
Yeah, you might not make it.
What are your thoughts on?
And because it's J and B, he know they can't just go at him like the way Jay wants to go at him, like knowing where he's from.
Yeah.
Can't do that. He's too big. You know what I mean?
What are your thoughts on Kanye West and how far from grace he has fallen? Because people swear,
sad, man.
Oh, nah, you know, the music is still good, so we got to just look past it and look at the music.
No.
Because to me, I ain't even like the last album with Travis Scott, but that's just me. Maybe I'm a hater.
Yeah, it's bad.
For me, I can't make excuses on the music part. But what are your thoughts?
He's lost. He's sad and pathetic, and I have no words for it. He needs help, man. I think he's past the point. He needs an ass whooping. Some people just need an ass whooping. That's the best cure. That's the best therapy for him. Just give him an ass whooping.
This is why you my big cousin, man.
Yeah, some people just need an ass whooping. It'll help them in progressing into a better individual, make them understand maybe I should keep my mouth shut.
And that's the problem, because remember I had that problem where somebody was doing the online fake accounts, and I always said it. I know. I know, because you can pay $50 to find out, but that's just between me and you out there. Anyways, I always said this: if you actually had a problem with somebody, why are you online tweeting from fake accounts or real accounts? Yeah. We're from the era where we were adults before social media. Before I hopped on Facebook, I didn't get on Facebook till like 2008. Like I was already 21, 22. I remember how you dealt with the problem in your hood before Facebook.
Yes.
You went to that person's job and got it on at their job.
Yep.
Somebody went upside somebody's head.
Super facts.
Or you got caught at school or college or wherever. You got caught at the bus stop, and it just you better be ready to throw down.
Right.
That accountability held people honest, at least in my personal opinion. Like people were doing crazy stuff. I remember somebody said something back when I was a teenager about somebody's kid. That person came to that person's job, pulled them over the counter, and whooped their head at their job, and walked out of there unscathed.
Wow.
See, y'all don't want that type of accountability. Always just words and nah. When you get punched upside your head a couple times and you start thinking, yo, my jaw rocked, my wig, my face is knotted up. You start thinking about what you're saying about people's kids and them in general. Like, again, you can say whatever you want online. You can create all the fake accounts you want. You can talk about people's kids. But the second y'all get caught, it's always just words and, yo, you got to forgive me. I ain't take my medicine.
Yeah. Become a civilian again. Oh God, I can't tell how many times I got in trouble like that.
If you don't got my personal number because I gave it to you, not because you found it online, but if I didn't give you my personal number, you don't got a problem with me. I'll say that again slowly.
Right.
If I didn't give you my personal number, you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. That's why I don't understand this internet bullshit with Kanye.
Right.
You got his number, call him. You online talking about Beyonce and Jay's kid? because you want attention, because you're trying to drop some merchandise.
Pathetic.
The music ain't even enough no more. This is you as a human being being an asshole with money.
I can't
And
tell
somebody said this before. Yeah, Kanye does need his ass whooped.
you.
Well,
Yep.
go ahead.
No, I just think about all the times Rockefeller, even though I know it's not all Jay, but because Dame, Choke talked about how Dame sent people to protect Kanye.
Yeah,
I'm
beans.
just, like, my God, man. My God.
But
Don't worry. He going to fall. And then he's going to have an epiphany. And it's going to be too late.
Mm-hmm. But yo, that sums up our hour on the podcast, man. Definitely. Go ahead.
Real quick, one thing, because we didn't get to talk about sports. Shouts out to all the NCAA teams, schools, college basketball teams, men's and women's, that made it to the NCAA big tournament, the NIT, the BIT, the CPI. All you guys, salute and congratulate, because I know me and my partner, we've seen all the schools that have made the effort to come into these tournaments and to get this far. So salute to all you guys, and salute and good luck to all the teams. And
I got one in particular that we got to shout out because we covered them. So shout out to Norfolk State University from the MEAC that won their conference and went dancing. Head coach Robert Jones, who won Coach of the Year within the MEAC. Shout out to Brian Moore, who won Player of the Year in the MEAC.
Yes, sir.
They got busy, man.
They sure did.
Pardon me. So salute to the whole staff, the whole coaching staff, or the players over at Norfolk State. Y'all making HBCUs proud, man. I didn't go to a HBCU, but hell, I'm proud of y'all because I'm rooting.
Yeah.
I'm rooting, man.
Yes, sir.
Salute to the whole Norfolk State, because if they win, I put this in the universe. If they win, the landscape changes.
Does. Sure
Coach
does.
Robert Jones said this on the interview, and this is why I respect him so much. A, he's from New York.
Okay.
So salute.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, big New York over there. But he said this. He said, Norfolk State University is my blue blood team. That's my Duke. That's my North Carolina.
Right.
Basically, he's saying, like, I'll turn them into Duke for the HBCUs. If Norfolk State University wins one round in that tournament, a lot is about to change for the MEAC. A lot is about to change for Norfolk State. So salute to them. Salute to head coach Robert Jones and all the players, man. Y'all keep moving.
Sir.
Got anything else you want to add?
No, that's it.
Yo, so this sums it up, man. I hope y'all have fun talking hip hop with us, because that's the foundation of this platform. We talk sports, we talk politics, current events, but this platform at Enveonline was built off of talking about hip hop. So that's why when I bring out the albums, I'm not doing it to show off. I'm doing it because as a platform, we got to keep curating hip hop and making it exciting to talk about. Because if we not talking about hip hop, what is we talking about? If we not talking about, yo, go grab the latest album, you need to grab this album. Shout out to Dave East and Ransom for the final call. What are we talking? Oh, who snitched about who? Who fell down the stairs and went viral on TikTok? Now let's get back to that, like Zip with the Drip say. Let's get back to that. Hip hop platforms should talk about hip hop. That's the challenge I'm giving. So salute to this album that we curated today. If you don't got it, go look up Davies' social media handle. He dropped the link. Go grab the final call. Go get into the revolution of what's going on in underground hip hop, man. Got anything else?
That's it.
Whether it's one person or 1,000 people tune in on the playback. Much respect to y'all and salute. One half of Enveonline, Deshaun, a.k.a. Son of a Jones.
And his partner, Azar Johnson.
Y'all be blessed.
One.